Good afternoon, everybody. Today I'm chatting with Benoit La Salle from AYA Gold and Silver. In today's interview, we're going to discuss the silver market and what factors should be driving the price of silver over the coming decade. We also discuss the company's recent announcement that they're going to be spinning out their gold assets and what that spinco might look like as a holding of AYA Gold and Silver. We also get into all the acquisition that is happening within the silver space, including the Gatos Silver acquisition, as well as the Silver Crest acquisition, and what that could mean for a company like AYA, who's sitting around with a pretty interesting asset in Morocco. And lastly, we discuss what shareholders should expect out of the company over the remainder of the year. All right, everybody, enjoy the interview. Benoit, thanks for joining us today.
Pleasure. Thank you for inviting me again.
So we've seen silver recently, since we last spoke, is now above $30. It seems to be sitting there. Benoit, what's your read on the price of silver? Where do you think we're heading?
Well, I think when we met last July, I believe, and silver was trying to break the 27, 28, coming back, and we always said, look, it's got to break 30, 32. And once it breaks this, it will consolidate, which is absolutely normal. You don't want it to go up, up, up all the time with never looking back. So it's consolidating right now. There's a couple of mixed messages on the federal policy on interest rate, what's going to happen, the US dollar and all that. It has an effect on gold, therefore it has an effect on silver. So we will know if we see a clear path towards a reduction of the interest rate, but silver is moving into the 30, 32, and then I really believe that by the end of this year it probably will test 35, and in testing 35 it'll do the same thing. It'll test it, it'll come back a little bit, it'll be around that, and all of a sudden, I think when I don't know when, all of a sudden it's just going to go straight through. And then, God knows where it's going to go, but it's going to go straight through. When I hear Elon Musk says, solar is the new source of energy for the planet, he's right, because it's going to be the cheapest beside nuclear, but that's another size. It's another kind of project. But solar, eats up silver, and it is the way forward. I mean, you see, and since we spoke, India has announced their solar programs and how much they're building and how many millions of ounces of silver that they need, and they've been tripling their demand every month. So silver is good between 30 and 32. We need a bit of clarity on fiscal and monetary policy, and then we will see it test 35, and after that, look, I don't know where it's going to stop, but a lot of you look at the volume and the transaction on the silver stocks. There's some really pre-positioning at the moment.
From a macro standpoint, when you try to simplify it and think about like what are the big things I'm thinking about here when I'm thinking about what gets me excited about where the price of silver could be heading, are you looking at interest rates? Are you looking at solar panel demand? Perhaps you're looking at Samsung came out with the new 600-mile 9-minute charge battery that's going to be heavily dependent on silver. Is it the gold ratio that gets you excited? What's that sort of, if you were to make a slide on your deck where you're going to put that number one thing that you think is going to drive the price of silver over the next decade, what is it?
100% industrial demand, 100%. So solar panel, silver batteries, the tech, all the tech, computer, communication, armament, which is now tech. So all that is what will be driving the silver price. Yes, the gold price and the gold ratio, all of that is neat. It's nice, but it has its own life and it's got its own manipulation. You can manipulate gold quite a bit, but silver is getting more and more difficult because of the industrial demand. So what really pleases me is to see industrial demand, go up 20, 25, 30% year over year. And if we do go solar all the way, I mean, it'll be even more than 25, 30% growth.
So we've recently seen, and I'm sure you followed this, Frank Justra has come out with a play in the silver space. You think that this is sort of a turning point for silver equities where we're going to start to see that sentiment shift? I mean, Frank, and I don't know how closely you followed it, but he's sort of walked away from precious metals there for like a decade and has kind of largely come back here recently. And the thing he seems to be the most excited about doing his rounds, we've got him on our show in November talking about silver. Do you think that we're starting to see that sentiment shift when it comes to silver equities?
Well, look, we all know he's a very, very smart investor. that I mean, the proof is is clear, and he's coming back into silver. You saw this morning, Eric Sprott turn his interests of Galena into USA, and they're taking control of USA, and they're changing it, and it's also a new silver kind of story. It was a very fatigue story up to today, but now it's brand new. And yeah, so Eric Sprott, Frank Justra, a lot of the guys are heading into silver platform because you don't I don't think you're going to see gold go from 2,600 to 5,000. Like it may, but it will take time. You could see silver go 30, 35, 50, 80. And you could see that very, very quickly because it's the demand. If India and China decide that they want more silver, there's no supply. There's absolutely no supply, and there's no new silver mines. You have always one or two new gold mines here and there. There's just no new silver mines. And look at the transaction, that was paid for Silvercrest. It's fully paid. Why? Because there's no new silver mines.
So I want to get into that. We had before that, First Majestic went out and bought Gato Silver, and now we've got Core buying Silvercrest for 1.7 billion. You think that these transactions are going to continue? And if we are in silver investors, and I know you can't say too much being involved with a multi-billion-dollar silver company, but where do you think that this is heading? What's the signal?
Look, I think that Kerr is made Mexico a place where consolidation should occur. Everybody knew that. Everybody knew. But now they came in, they took one of the best project and they bought that, and now they should buy everything else. All these one project company that are struggling to do their PEA and struggling to do this and that. If I were them, I would buy them all and I would put them under one roof, which is excellent for Mexico. It's excellent for silver. It'd be great for the market. So, and again, you don't see new silver projects. So if they're there, if you for Kerr, you don't go in and buy a small player to start. It makes no sense. You got to establish a base. They bought the biggest player possible with Gatos and Silvercrest. They bought that. So now there is a base. I think they're just going to ramp up the acquisition and bring them all in and develop them. And if there is political pressure, well, you have size and you can sit at the table. You're not a one project company waiting for an open pit permit. I mean, it's not the case. You're going to have size. And I think that's what they did. So yes, you will continue to see transaction. I think you're going to see a lot more in Mexico. And but absolutely, the bigger players are trying to grow, and they cannot find silver projects for sale. It just doesn't exist.
So I have to ask you, and I know you can't get into material non-public information, but I'm still going to ask the question. Are you guys considering any M&A? Has there been any chatter? Have companies been reaching out to you? Can you give us any color on that?
Well, look, we're still an infant. We're 4.5 years old. So we took over April 2020. This was a broken company. We fixed it. We have two of the best silver assets in the world. One comes Gounder, which is a beautiful project, which has its third plant now just about done, ready to go into production. And then we have Boumadine, which is by far the biggest silver discovery of the last 20 years, probably. And it's just at the very beginning. So we are not looking to do a transaction. We are fully funded. We have the money that we need to develop these assets. But yes, people are asking us if we would like to dance, and the answer is we're not ready to dance now. We don't have the age to go to the ball. We're too young.
Okay. I got to ask you about Aya. Last month, you guys announced that you're going to be conducting a spin out of your gold assets. What can you tell us?
Yep. So look, we were looking at our pyramid of projects, and Zgounder and Zgounder Regional and Boumadine, and Boumadine is now like 18 permits, and we had these two other assets, one in Mauritania called Tijirit, and one in Morocco called M&As, and those were pure gold assets. This is not the message that we want to put out. We're a silver company, and we said, well, let's see if somebody would like to buy them, and then we said, why do that, and why not just create a spin out, a spinco, and find the right team. And by, again, pure coincidence, we were in discussion with Rick Clark, and Rick and I go back 25 years, maybe even more. I would say maybe yet more than this, from the Redback time, and we were in discussion, and we showed him the assets, and we agreed that together we would create Spinco, which we call MX2. So M times two, M for Morocco and Mauritania times two. And we did a small $15 million financing, which was 3 times oversold. And we are now in the motion of putting the team together. The exploration will start in a few days, if not in a few weeks. The drill program's being discussed. Everything's being put in place. And I think that this MX2, so for us, instead of selling the assets and getting 25, 30 million, we will own 44% of a company for the time being. And then after the IPO, maybe a little bit less than this. But it will be a beautiful new success in Morocco and in Mauritania. The management team is second to none, with Rick and Adam, and more coming. You'll see some big names joining the management team, and I think that this will be a very successful company, with Aya focusing on gold. Aya is more focusing on silver, and look, they benefit from our infrastructure in country, the team that we have in country, and it will be a beautiful spin out, and Aya will realize, I'm sure, a fantastic profit out of this transaction.
So what does the spin out look like? Or is that still undecided? Like you guys are creating the spin co. Is there going to be a special dividend to shareholders where they're going to receive a piece of this, or is Aya going to kind of own it, and then you can maybe sell parts of it off to increase the cash balance, or just hold on to it? What's sort of the long-term vision here?
So that's right. So it's a spinco. Aya will own 44%. The new shareholders coming in, including Rick and Adam and all people around us, are all participating in the financing. And Aya will hold on to the shares for the time being. We're going to let the company breed. We're going to let the company grow. We'll see, how big it is. I think M&As is a lookalike, like Rock's Gold, over 1 million ounces at 12, 13 grams per ton underground. It's already a mining permit. It's easy to take that into production. It just needs drilling. We need to drill it. These numbers we don't have. We need to develop that. But and then we'll decide in Aya, we could pay it out as a dividend. We could. We just don't want to do that right now. I don't think it would be good for MX2 for us to do this. You would, create a lot of flow back on the shares. So we're going to hold on to them. And God knows, I mean, at one point, if this is another very big success, we may decide to give a dividend to our shareholders. We may sell some to fund the construction of Boumadine, which is going to be a very large project. So it's giving us flexibility. We're in no rush, and the shareholders are very happy that we are letting go of these two assets and focusing on the silver assets.
So, Benoit, I think that when a lot of investors look at you guys as a silver company, and they're going to often just use those, back of the baseball card metrics, and they're going to go, okay, you guys are producing in 2023 about 2 million ounces of silver. 2024, you're guiding to 2.6 to 3.2, but you got a $2.2 billion market cap, which is kind of in line with companies that are currently producing a lot more silver. Why is it that I am excited about this? If I'm a silver investor looking at the space, where is this company going in 5 years?
Well, that's a very good question, except let me say something here. Is production doesn't create value. Production depletes ounces, reduces your value. The more you produce, the less value you have. That's the biggest challenge for all the large mining companies, is to replace the ounces in the ground. Who in the sector who went 40, 80, 100, 450 million ounces of silver in 4 years? We went 10 times in 4 years. We're at now 450 million. Nobody. We're the only one. And so we went from 0.5 an ounce per share to right now 3.5 ounces per shares outstanding. And we think that we're going to double these ounces in the next 2 years. Who does that? Nobody. So production, not relevant at all, except it gives you cash flow so you don't dilute your shareholders. So, but if you take a company and you produce and you don't spend money on exploration, your value just keeps coming down because you reduce your ounces per shares, you reduce your potential. The real value of a next mining / exploration company is the success in finding ounces. And in history, look at the big examples of Semafo as an example. Redback, Chris' company, Rick Clark's company, Redback. You look at Randgold, Mark Bristow's. Why were they so successful? Because they found millions of ounces of gold. In this case, it's silver, and they created value. If you don't do that, no value creation. So yes, some people may look at us on a per ounce of production. It's not relevant. Yes, we have cash flow. It's very, very nice. But it's who spends 35 to 40 million a year in exploration, 17 rigs turning right now, drilling 160,000 meters. This is, and each drill hole you want to hit mineralization, and you're spending $1 in exploration. Last year, our discovery cost was 10 cents. So you can imagine 10 cents to discover an ounce. It's absolutely fantastic because your ounce has a margin of, let's give it $15. Your NAV on that will be 5, and you're spending 10 cents for that. So you're absolutely right. If you look at it from a production metrics, not interesting. But people look at that because they have no upside in the portfolio. And if you don't have any upside in the portfolio, there's no more value creation. And Silvercrest is a great example. Beautiful company, fantastically built project, no potential to grow the resource. So they got sold to a company that needed production, cash flow, and has its own project. So you have to see where you are domiciled in the Lassonde curve. And if you're at the top and just into production, there's no more value.
Makes sense. And as you said earlier, you guys are just a baby, too young for the dance. So sounds like we can expect some pretty big growth in those resource estimates. Last question for you. I got to ask you about, you guys are currently going under an expansion at your flagship mine. which I believe was completed at the or was 98% complete at the end of August. What can you tell us about the expansion?
Well, look, we are in the commissioning phase. So it's in wet commissioning. So we're every day we're starting more parts of the plant, and it's advancing correctly. We are on budget. We're a little bit later than what we had originally anticipated. So the plant will be up and running about 8 weeks later than the original plan in 2022. So I mean, it's not that bad. It's a little bit later, but globally and all on budget, which is that is on 2022 cost to be on budget today is very, very difficult. So yeah, no, it's coming well. You'll see some videos coming out in the next few days, few weeks on the plant, and it's really up and running at the moment. I mean, we are in the commissioning phase.
All right, last question for you. If I'm an investor in the company or I'm following the company and I got you guys on my watch list, I'm doing my due diligence on silver, what am I looking out for over the remainder of the year?
Well, you're looking for a plan that's going to be declared commercial production. So you're looking for the end of the construction, the beginning of the production. You are looking for drill results coming out of 17 drills that are turning. So you're looking for a lot of drill results that are going to be coming out every month till the end of the year. And we're also at all time adding more ground. Today we have 600 square kilometers, giving you round numbers. When we took over, we had like 80 square kilometers. Now we have 600. And we're right now waiting for the government to give us a lot more. So it's in the process. We've applied for a lot more ground, always on strike, on structure, silver anomalies, some gold anomalies as well. And some come with gold, copper, and silver. But we want to increase our footprint because we're like buying real estate on Fifth Avenue, but nobody knows it is Fifth Avenue. It's like we're still by ourselves. As of today, you want to invest in a company in Morocco, which is one of the best jurisdiction in the world for mining, with great assets. We're the only choice.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know the Fraser Institute ranks Morocco really high, yet we hardly see any public deals in Canada in Morocco, which it seems like the Canadian junior markets have this problem where everybody wants to be in the same jurisdiction because they all know the same people and that's where they're comfortable operating. But I know talking to Rick Rule, who you mentioned is an investor, it's you got to go out to new places that other people aren't looking for stuff if you want to make big discoveries. And it seems like you guys have exactly proven that.
We have to read the general press, not only the mining press. Total, the French power company, is investing 14 billion in solar plants in Morocco. Total, BYD, BATL, CATL, they're all of them building plants in Morocco. Aerospace, automobile. Morocco is buzzing like Dubai. It's the Dubai of Europe. It's buzzing. It's extremely stable. Infrastructure is great. And we're the only international mining company operating with the local Managem, which is their local mining company. But from Toronto or from around the world, we're the only one operating in Morocco. Great jurisdiction, fantastic deposits, a lot of people available to work. That's also, our workforce is 99% Moroccan, which is very, very rare. And so I think that with the silver price going up, with us continuing to make discoveries, I think it's a very compelling story.
Well, Benoit, it's always a pleasure speaking with you. I think that you guys are one of the names that investors are going to want to keep an eye on here as we see silver continue to crush recent highs. We'll put it that way. I'm of the belief that we're going to be seeing all-time highs at some point in the next 24 months. But as we see that, there's going to be names that investors are going to want to have on their watch list. And I believe you guys are one of them. So thanks for hopping on here, and let's do this again sometime.
Absolutely. And whenever you want, just let me know and I'll be back.
Thanks, Benoit.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this interview, please smash that like button, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. Also, let me know what you think in the comment section. Thanks, everyone.